Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Hope everyone had a decent Saturday. It is 2:42 in the a.m. and we're still doing news. I have to be honest, I don't like doing hard news at 2 in the morning. I like doing like woo-woo stuff, like the 420s. But we're here. This is what we're gonna do. I have another video coming up. It's like at this point I need to start doing 1 or 2 videos that are not gonna be demonetized because of. We often talk about censorship, and this is a deviation from this, and not necessarily what I was going to talk about. We often talk about censorship, and we talk about this hard censorship, like they did the video with Abby Martin. They're not showing it in 28 countries. Well, that's hard censorship. We're not showing something that you're doing to the world, not because you're lying, not because you're fibbing or curbing the truth in some way, but because you are actually telling the truth. We don't like the truth and reality that you're presenting to the world. So we want to suppress that to certain nations because we don't want those nations to see that. If they see that, they're confronted with factually true information and may have to make decisions on that factually true information. There's also soft suppression, meaning something that you're doing that you would typically get paid for that you're not getting paid for because they don't necessarily like what's being presented. Take a look at this. Let's see. Just to make my point. This is my console. These are the videos I did today. Now, and I consider these videos important, and I consider these videos necessary. So to some degree, I knew that we were going to be demonetized, but it's still aggravating when it takes place. Not suitable. Not suitable. Copyright. Not suitable. Not suitable. Now, perspective on matters. Politicians and media weaponize context. Apparently, that's problematic to YouTube. Jeremy Corbyn blasts Western deafening silence at Israel murder of 27 Palestinians. Nothing that I said in that is in any way controversial. We'll see what they do. But again, right off the bat, I'm talking about what a politician said and a politician did. I'm just reading his quotes. Reading his quotes. Gas attack in Syria. Understood, but still. U.S. officially blames Syria chemical attack. Again, the United States says this is what took place. A governmental release somehow is not suitable. And Abby Martin is censored. Even reporting on the story gets censored. Yeah, that's amazing and aggravating. That's profoundly aggravating. You have no idea. It's like you do multiple videos, you do real news, you're being honest about it, you're giving the truthful part of it, and YouTube says, we don't like you covering those subjects, buddy. So we're going to demonetize that. We'll take a look at it later once you hit 1,000, but we don't like that. We don't like that. All right, let's go to the real story. This one is not going to be long. This is just a story. I thought it was interesting. Trump suggests the Department of Justice is slow-walking document release. Why on earth would it do that? President Donald Trump on Saturday suggested that the Department of Justice is slow-walking the release of documents related to the House Judiciary Committee's investigation. Lawmakers of the House Judiciary Committee are angrily accusing the Department of Justice of missing the Thursday deadline for turning over unredacted documents related to FISA abuse, FBI, Comey, Lynch, McCabe, Clinton emails, and much more. The president tweeted, "Slow-walking. What is going on? Bad." Bad. There's no way he's writing these tweets. He has to have a professional. He's too good. He's too good at the tweets. They're too fucking hilarious. Let's keep going. What does the Department of Justice and the FBI have to hide? He added in a second tweet. Why aren't they giving the strongly requested documents unredacted to the House Judiciary Committee? Stalling, but for what reason? Not looking good. Not looking good indeed. GOP lawmakers on the committee are reportedly furious with the Justice Department for missing the subpoena deadline for documents that requested related to the activity by the agency and the FBI during the election. Whether you like them or not, it's Congress. Does Congress have the power to subpoena the FBI? Meaning, is the FBI under the jurisdiction to some degree of Congress? And for that matter, when I say Donald Trump is incompetent, this is kind of my point. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. part and parcel to being president of the United States is the capacity to be able to pick the person who you want for Attorney General. Great, gold star. You choose Jeff Sessions. Did you not know what Jeff Sessions was going to do before you chose Jeff Sessions to take that office? Did you not know? Meaning, why wouldn't you pick somebody who was more in line with your political philosophy? Meaning, not necessarily going after stoners, not prioritizing stoners at all. Meaning, setting an independent investigator for the Hillary Clinton thing. Like, I'm making a point to you, you shouldn't have to be on Twitter to deal with the governmental apparatus. Sessions is part of the governmental apparatus. Justice Department, as far as I understand it, is under the discretion of Jeff Sessions. Why do you have to bitch and moan and complain this much on Twitter for something that should be within your power to at the very least influence? Let's keep going. You should not have to cajole them in this way. That's the point I'm getting at. The panel subpoenaed more than 1 million documents for its investigation into alleged criminality and abuse in the FBI's decision-making during the 2016 election. The request includes documents related to the investigation of Hillary Clinton's handling of classified information while Secretary of State and possible surveillance abuses by the Department of Justice. Mark Meadows said the Department of Justice missing the Thursday subpoena deadline was unacceptable. "We got no documents from the Department of Justice," Meadows tweeted. "Just a phone call. This is unacceptable. It's time to stop the games, turn over the documents to Congress, and allow us to conduct oversight." Democrats have criticized the GOP probe as partisan distraction to the Russian investigation, which is in and of itself a partisan distraction to the FISA abuses and criminality of the FBI. They got that woman off and monkeyed with the way the information was in order to get Donald Trump on. I suspect part of the reason that they don't have anything is because they don't have anything. I found this on HA, and I thought this was interesting because I like the way this person starts this, and I have a response to what this person is saying in the beginning. I assume he's a right-winger. Why the FBI is dodging Nunes? It's concealing the depth of Obamagate. The left used to get worked up about the CIA's interference in foreign elections. Liberal will quote solemnly the work of Philip Agee, a CIA turncoat who wrote articles and books about the agency's manipulation of this or that foreign election. But these days, the ACLU-style liberals shrug at the meddling of John Brennan and CIA in the 2016 American election, mischief that the FBI is still trying to conceal. The left used to get worked up over that. I haven't gone anywhere. I'm still here. I still get worked up over it. And I'm worked up over the fact that this is taking place in the United States. And then again, people are shrugging their shoulders at what looks like all of these people affiliated with the Clinton Foundation or with Hillary Clinton getting Donald Trump. What do you want to call it? There's a colloquialism for it. But essentially getting them stitched up. I mean, that woman was guilty of sin. They let that woman walk. And the same factors that allow that woman to walk, you find out, appear on the Trump investigation. They spied on his campaign. And fact is, I would say it's somewhat of a fact. If Comey is lying, why is Comey lying? Why is Comey not telling the truth in regards to Hillary Clinton being guilty? Why is he creating this impossible standard of intent? And why was there somebody a year earlier that got convicted for the exact same thing that Hillary Clinton was being accused of, but Hillary Clinton got off on it? The moment that you challenge that and you say, you start asking those questions, then you get into this idea of, was the political apparatus leaning in the favor of one of the candidates? And the answer is yes. Even in Comey's own testimony, Comey said he felt some kind of way about being pushed to talk about his investigation, his criminal investigation, in the language of the Clinton campaign. And he was being pushed this way by Loretta Lynch, who was put on by Obama. She gets off. She shouldn't get off. She gets off. And all of a sudden, there's a tip. And that tip requires the FBI to surveil Donald Trump's campaign. We find out that the tip is from somebody who used to work with the Clinton Foundation. Not work for, but work with a diplomat. So even he had his associations with the Clinton campaign. You find out that the Clinton campaign paid for the document that the FBI was using for this. You find out that one contact after the next is related to the political opponent of the person who's being spied on. This is fishy. This is extremely fishy. And the left should be extremely worked up about this. This is an attack on our republic. And if it's not, if you don't believe it is, at the very least, you should be willing to have an investigation to look into what these things are, because that woman was guilty. That woman was guilty. Fact is, if the political apparatus tilts in one direction to get that person off, it's no reason to believe they wouldn't tilt any other to get somebody on, especially if you want to tar somebody and the presidency's at stake. They should be investigated. And yeah, the left should be motivated about this, but elements of the left that call themselves the left are not, because they're attacking Donald Trump and they're perfectly okay with them attacking Donald Trump. We hate Trump, but because we hate Trump, we're okay with these edifices of the government being used in this way that we would typically not necessarily like. They're working for our benefit, so we're okay with it. What's this guy's name? George Numar. The real left is actually here, and the real left is still motivated about this stuff. We haven't gone anywhere. So, this one is not going to be long. I suspect there's not going to be anybody here, because like I said, this one wasn't going to be long. Where will you be when the documents are released? Right, right, blah, blah, right. Where will you be when the documents are released? Jamal is unemployed, isn't he? That's funny. If you have a job, you're not making live videos at midnight. On Saturday? It's Saturday. It's Saturday. And I get money from this in addition to part-time work. I made a decision to leave that particular field because I started realizing that this is a part-time job. So I was like, if I can do side work in software and do this, fucking win-win. At some point, this gets to the point where it becomes full-time, but in the point, it's part-time. I love doing it. Republic has been dead. I read a little Plato. The face of the planet has never hosted a republic. And that is true. Like, there's always this kind of, this plutocratic interest that instigate itself into the political affairs. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Oh, she says she's off to bed. I'm hoping that Donnie Tiny Hands will fire Mueller so I can sit back and laugh when the Hill bots' heads explode. It will be great. Donald Trump will be insane to fire Mueller. He will. Look, I know that the people are saying that Mueller is not. I think the Mueller investigation is bogus. I think Mueller is in this thing as a political hatchet man. Yes. Firing Comey was a disaster. Firing Comey was a disaster. There are political realities that Donald Trump have to pay attention to. That's one of them. That is definitely one of them. So, one side is lying. The documents would definitely demonstrate which side that is. Looking forward to the reveal of John Kennedy. The documents should be revealed because the American public are adults, and the American public needs to be able to see what its government and what its officers of the government are doing. If you can't keep track of them, how can you know what the government is doing? I mean, it's that simple. It's that simple. Joe Terrizzo, there's something I can agree with. He'll lose Republican support for sure if he fires Mueller, but he doesn't know any better. I don't think he's going to fire Mueller. I don't think he's going to do it. There's no way. You must understand, firing Comey set off a firestorm. The American public doesn't necessarily pay attention to the stuff that goes on, so they see the top. They see the crust. They see the politics. Many of them believe that the politics is the actual reality. Like, they take the theater to be real. If he fires Mueller, what they're going to say is the President of the United States is firing somebody who's doing an investigation into the President of the United States. They're not going to understand that all of this stuff is political. They're not going to understand the politics of this. They're just going to see the President of the United States firing the special prosecutor who's investigating that exact same President of the United States. And they're going to ask the question, what does the President have to hide? When they ask that question, you're going to have a bunch of Hillbots and a bunch of people in the media screaming, he's guilty! He colluded with Russia. There's something there that the president doesn't want us to see. Otherwise, why is he firing the special prosecutor? In the same way that it was a horrible idea to fire Comey because you ended up with Mueller, it is a bad idea to fire Mueller. It's a bad idea to fire Mueller. If you're talking about Donald Trump being impeached, I can't guarantee that. That would be hyperbolic. But I would give you a heads up that says that would be the path to do so. That would be the path to do so. There's certain political realities that you have to deal with. Whatever you think those political realities, being bogus, ridiculous, a witch hunt or not, it doesn't matter. They're political realities. You have to be aware that the public has a certain perspective, a certain idea in mind. And they don't necessarily look at this stuff from the political angle of these people are hatchet, these people are bogus and everything else. They see somebody in the FBI investigating the president. And the president firing that person makes it look like the president has something to hide. You need to leave Mueller to his own affairs. You deal with Mueller in a particular way, but you leave Mueller to his own affairs. Joe Trezo, Jamal, here's a question. How is firing Comey because of Russia Trump's interview with Lester Holt not obstruction of justice? No, of course not. It's not. The president has full authority to fire whoever the president wants in this case. The issue here is not whether he has the power to do so. The issue is the politics of it. Firing Comey had nothing to do with Russia. It's ridiculous. Honestly, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm just saying, some of the stuff that they've been saying about this, Joe, has been absurd. It's been absurd. They love Mueller because Mueller lets them attack Trump. That's it. Trump firing Comey. They love Trump firing Comey because it allowed them to say that Trump is guilty. This is politics. This is politics. Even if there's a reality to it, all of this is somewhat of a witch hunt. Now, I say Trump is incompetent because Trump. Let's say it this way. Let's look at it from the terms of Obama. Obama hires a hatchet man, Eric Holder. He hires his homeboy, somebody who's associated with. He understands what Holder is going to do. They're friends. They're close. These guys are allies. If Holder is doing something in that office, Holder is for the most part doing it knowing that Obama is going to approve of what Holder is doing. There's no conflict between those things. Loretta Lynch comes in office. Loretta Lynch literally leans on the FBI to get them to talk about the case in the way that the Clinton campaign is. Now, Obama doesn't have to tell Loretta Lynch to do that. He's hired her. She already knows what the president wants. She gets it. She understands it because the president has hired her. Whatever you want to think of Obama, he was a decent manager. It's just the fact. It's just what he was managing. But my point to this is, she knows. Look, Obama put Clinton as Secretary of State, and no way is he going to want the woman that he put in as Secretary of State perp-walked. And if anything, he's a Democrat, she's a Democrat, Obama's a Democrat. They want that woman to accede to the presidency, and she can't do it from a jail cell. So I'm going to lean on you to talk about the case a particular way. I'm going to lean on you. I want to have a conversation with Bill Clinton, but whether that conversation with Bill Clinton took place or not, the fix was in. Trump gets in an office. Jeff Sessions. Why doesn't Jeff Sessions know? Like, why doesn't Jeff Sessions and Donald Trump, why didn't Trump hire somebody who had a similar relationship with, in the same way that Obama had a relationship with these people, and that these people knew and understood the will that Trump wanted to inflict, in the same way that Obama or Lynch and Holder understood what Obama wanted to do in the office? This is what I mean when I say incompetent. That's what I mean. This is not this kind of, oh, he's just attacking Trump. No! That's a certain degree of incompetence. The president of the United States is out here tweeting what he wants. Something that he himself controls to do, or has a lot of control over to do. This is insane. I'm just saying, this is insane. It's sad. It's sad. It's very sad. And no, it had nothing to do with Russia. He fired Comey because he didn't trust Comey. That's the beginning and end of it. Pat S. Oh, thank you, Pat. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Like I've said it on multiple times. I've started using this channel to some degree as a part-time job. I love it. And because I love it, I can do stuff on the side, and I try to make this a priority, which is the idea of scaling up. That's what I want to do. That's what I like to do. I love doing this. So, here at 3 in the morning, doing the news. Pat S., thank you for your help in allowing me to do the news. I appreciate it. Comey calls Hillary Clinton the election. Comey is a martyr for the truth. That's funny. I know, right? He reopened the Clinton email investigation, probably calls Hillary the election. Yeah, Hillary, it's weird. It's so bizarre. Because in one case you have it where they say, Comey was responsible for Hillary Clinton losing the election. By the same token, you say, Comey was responsible for keeping Hillary Clinton out of prison. Both have some degree of truth. Both have some degree of truth. The latter is absolutely true. The former, arguable. It's arguable, yes. And maybe there's some percentage of it. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, Comey. This is so easy for Democrats to fight against, but are so inept that they are non-effective. You mean the Trump and Russia thing, or the Trump thing? Look, Trump is just going to have to deal with the special, and I can't think of his name, Mueller. He's going to have to deal with Mueller through other means. He has to deal with him through political means, not through this blunt force means. And it's sad that the president doesn't have people around him to help him to do that, because Donald Trump is a reality show host. He doesn't have any skill in the political arena in this way. He may be great with the audience, he may be great with his crowd, but at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff deals with politics. It's not just crowds. You hired somebody who's not representing your interests, and you're out here on Twitter trying to get him to do so. They did go after you for this Russia nonsense, and that's bogus. Whatever horrible person that I think Donald Trump is, this Russia stuff is bogus. It's bogus and it's dangerous. If they went after him saying he was monetizing that agency, fair enough. I would look at you with somewhat of a squinty eye, because Hillary Clinton was also monetizing the State Department. So I look at this as being selective justice. But I would understand the emollients clause. He's profiting off of the presidency. That's a bad thing. We don't like that. But you've gone after him with the Russia nonsense. And you were able to get a special prosecutor on nonsense. Everything has been Trump and Russia. Everything has been Russia. Everything has been Vladimir Putin. This stuff has been nonsense. Democrats are obfuscated. And then this guy in this post talking about, hey, the most important thing we need to focus on is Trump and Russia. We need to not pay attention to the corruption in the FBI, colluding with the Democratic Party. We should pay no attention to that at all. Oh, so the Democratic Party don't believe we should look at corruption between the FBI and the Democratic Party? Yes. That's exactly what's taking place. Ignorance of the law is never an excuse. This is what happens when you elect rank amateur without proper temperament or even basic knowledge of civics to be president. But people can listen, they can elect whoever they want. It's their choice. JT, don't listen to anyone watching your work and calling you unemployed. Keep up the good work, youngster. Peace. Thank you. No, I don't consider it. This is employment. Honestly, it's the weirdest thing. I was talking to somebody, and they said, so what do you do? I said, well, I do software. And I say, and I work on a channel. And I was like, well, it's not really work. And then I thought, how many hours do you put into this? And not just how many hours do you put into it, you get paid for it. Like, half of your expenses are paid by it. So, technically, yes, it's work. I get a check from YouTube. I have to file as a small business. My taxes have become far more complicated because of the way I have to file, because I technically am a small business. If I start hiring people to help with audio, visual, etc., small business. I get paid by YouTube. When I'm bitching about the monetization and everything else, it's because I get paid by YouTube. I get paid by Google. In some odd way, I'm a small business that's attached myself to a particular company. That is weird for me to get my head around, if I'm being honest. And let me explain what I mean by that. You spend your life with a particular ideology in the way you go about your affairs. I need to get a job, I need to work with so-and-so, I'm working with a company, I'm stuck under this totalitarian system, I wake up, I work 40 hours, I go back home, it's alienated labor, etc., etc., etc. And then you stop doing that. You find something else that you love to do, and you do the thing that you love to do. And you make less because you made a choice to make less. But your income is scaling up. And you say, I put money in the bank so I can take the hit. And I'm transferring into something that I love to do. And in transferring into something I love to do, you hit this point of you're free in an odd way. Like it's hard to explain. It's like you're not under a totalitarian system anymore. You're not under somebody else's thumb who can bitch about you doing videos, or who can take issue with something that you said. Like you're in a business meeting and you say, hey, maybe we shouldn't be corrupt. That guy's a socialist. Because I'm saying that you guys shouldn't be corrupt? Fair enough. When you're not under that anymore, it's different. And your mindset becomes somewhat different. I'm beholden to the people who give through Patreon and who watch my videos. That's who I'm beholden to. Now, that's a certain degree of freedom, yes. That's a latitude of freedom that a lot of people don't necessarily get. But it is a job. And as a small business, if you guys start hating the content, if you guys stop giving through Patreons, if any of that stuff takes place, you guys can make a decision in the same way that a company can make a decision on who they want to fire or who they don't. The difference is there's thousands of you that are there to make that decision. And the base of people who I do this work for and everything else, is thousands. I wake up in the morning and I spend my day doing video and content. And I would guarantee you that I spend more time at my job than you do at your job. Guarantee it. When I was working the full-time job, I would work 8 hours. I would come home and I would spend another 4 or 5 hours doing videos. Like, it put me back into the mindset of how it was when I was in school, when I would work all day and then go to school in the evenings. And, you know, it's like when you're getting your degrees and you're spending all of this time at school, while at the same token, because you're in America, you also have to work at the exact same time you're trying to get an education. At the same time you're ill. It's weird to be back to that place of spending all that time doing that. And you make a decision that you want to do something that you love to do. My wife, for the most part, said, fucking A, go for it. We're not hurting. Go for it. And so that's what I'm going to do. I still do software because software is okay. I like it. I don't hate it. And doing it on the side to make ends meet is not a horrible thing. But the fact is, this is a small business. That's exactly what it is. When I declare my taxes and I have to pay the extra money to make sure that I have to file all of the stuff for YouTube and Google and Patreon and everything else, it's a small business. So I appreciate the comment and the support. Who said it? Who said it? Who said it? Who said it? Yeah, I forgot who said it. But yeah, I consider it a job. The thing is, it's a weird thing to consider it a job. It's bizarre to consider it a job. And it's a different temperament, it's a different mindset, and it's a mindset that I'm not all that familiar with yet. It's like when you say, what are you? It's easy to say I'm a software engineer. Everybody understands what that is. I have a certain pride in being a software engineer, having getting an education for it and everything else. Fair enough. YouTuber? Commentator? It's like, and I understand that the label itself doesn't necessarily change who you are. How you see yourself in that changes when you kind of make that transition from one thing to the next. And you think to yourself, this is somewhat vulnerable, but by the same token, I love it. And what do you consider yourself now that you yourself are the ones who's controlling that particular destiny as opposed to being attached to some kind of totalitarian company? It's different, it's weird, it's strange. I'm not all that still familiar with the transition yet. But no, I don't take any issue with somebody saying that it's not a job. They don't know what they're talking about. As for a young man, I am 40. I am 40. I'm way past 21. I'm way past 21. Blah, blah. Is this you trying to tell us that you're going to join TYT Jamal? No, it does not. No, it is not. No, it is not. No, it is not. No, it is not. Jamal, you're an intelligent man, but you believe in alien UFOs really blows my mind. Why? Why? You're a ball floating through the cosmos. It's like, that would be a weird thing to not believe in that. It would be a weird thing to not believe in it. Not to mention, at this point, you have to explain why those government people are coming out, why they're lying. This is one of those things where you now have government testimony coming out saying, this is true. Now, the skeptic's position has to defend that of saying, these people are lying. These people who are on the ships and on the boats, the physicists who are analyzing this particular case, all of these people are lying. All of these people are lying. Fact is, the weight of the evidence is against you on this. You not believing it blows my mind. You not believing it absolutely blows my mind. Don't confuse subjugation of lower classes with law. Blah, blah, agreed. Teda Queen, rule of law doesn't exist. Hillary wasn't prosecuted for doing what other people would have been locked up for doing a long time ago. Right there. Selective justice is not justice. I keep saying it. I say it over and over and over again because I like to get across this idea that if you narrow your focus to one while the other person is doing the exact same thing, that's not justice. That's the opposite of justice. The whole point of justice wearing a blindfold is to get across this idea that justice is blind. It doesn't care about your class. It doesn't care about your race. It doesn't care about your identity. But we all know that that's not true. So, yeah, agreed. Always moving forward. Jamal, keep up this work. You have a talent and intellect to make it work for you, and your family will reap the benefits. Ah, thank you, Pat S. And thank you for your donation. I appreciate it. It helps with the content. Most people are journalists. You don't have to be ordained by the state. You're just trying to say that most people can look at what's taking place and just say, look, this is what I saw. Agreed. All right, guys, I'm going to end this. I didn't expect this one to be too long. I just wanted to give a heads up of what's taking place. Yeah, Trump is right to be bothered by this. And that documents those. Look, whether you believe Trump is being a political actor in this or not, he is being a political actor. He is a political actor. If you think the Republicans are being a political actor, they are. All of them are political hacks. That doesn't mean that the public shouldn't see that information. The public should see that information. That information should not be hidden from the public. That information should be transparent. And the public should be able to evaluate for themselves what's taking place. Show. Confess. Confess your sins. Your Congress. Do you have any power to make them give you that information or not? You're the President of the United States. Do you have that power to compel them to give you that information or not? Own the power of the office, whether it's Congress or President, and get that information. They are subordinate to you. Get that information that they're hiding and figure out why they're trying to hide that information. I'll leave it at that. All right, guys, if you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, and subscribe. And of course, you can always support through Patreon or PayPal. Thanks, everyone. I don't think I'll see you guys again, but it's possible that I might. I'm an insomniac. I'm wide awake. It's Saturday night. I have nothing to do. My wife is gone, so fuck it. Let's do the news. So I may see you again in like 15 minutes. Thanks, guys.